Lynne and Barry Steele. We've been asked by Richard at Venue Cymru if we could possibly answer some questions for his Ask a Pro video. So we do the Roy Orbison Story. We produce and present it and tour it around the UK and Europe. So let's start with the questions. Barry, do you have any tips on getting an emotional connection with the audience?
Emotional? That's a bit of a strong word, isn't it? Emotionally, I think it's just the involvement of the actual music itself. It means certain songs mean different things to different people, and the same likewise. I just enjoy the music, and I think everybody still enjoys the music. It's brilliant.
For me personally, the emotional involvement is actually standing at the back of the room or the back of the auditorium and watching the audience's reactions to certain songs. You see people crying, you see people laughing, and I think for me that is actually very satisfying. Right, second question. Touring a one-night show to so many venues on a tour must take a great deal of organising. How far in advance do you plan your tour, and what do you have to consider when arranging a tour? I suppose that's me really. How far in advance? Well, we're now taking bookings for 2022, and we have tours of Holland and Belgium already penciled in for those dates and years. What do I have to consider? Well, the theatres really. They certainly do. We ask if we can return, and then they will give us several dates, and I will then try and work out
a
schedule and appropriate distances between venues. We have been known to travel from Bath one night all the way up to Scotland to do a show the following night, but we do try, if possible, to make sure that it is logistically feasible. It's the logistics really, the travel from one end of the country to the other. And luckily for us, we're based in the West Midlands, so we are literally smack bang central point. So it's that really, the logistics of the tour is vitally important.
I say aye.
Basically, I just send a date sheet out and they know where they need to go. And that's it really. Okay, so when you are putting the show together, how do you decide on which songs to include, being that there is such a large collection of Roy Orbison hits?
That's difficult.
I think we've been touring this show now for 12 years with various cast members and various approaches to the show. When we first started, it was Roy and Beatles, because we'd just done a tour of New Zealand with an amazing group called the Beatlemaniacs, and while we were over there, I can remember sitting and thinking, this is amazing, because although I wasn't sort of around or buying records when the Beatles were around, I was surprised at how many songs I actually knew. So I think my mother must have been playing them all the time when I was a child, on the radio probably. And I just felt that there was something there. So when we returned, Barry had joined, probably about 12 months later, a band called Rocking on Heaven's Door, theatre show. I watched and I learned and I listened, but at the back of my mind was always this Roy and Beatles. So we started putting the Roy and the Beatles out, and we quickly discovered it was actually a bit strange, because Beatle fans didn't necessarily like Roy's music and Roy fans didn't necessarily like Beatles music. So we felt that we had to go with the Roy, because that's what we did. So over the years, the show has evolved with various support acts. We moved the show from the early 60s. Now it's firmly based in the 80s, when Roy was with an amazing group called the Travelling Wilburys. and that is where our focus is now. Supergroup. Our focus at the moment with the show is keeping the music as alive as we possibly can. There's no click tracks in our show. It is all 100% live, and it's based firmly in the 80s. Although, having said that, we do have a 60s look here because he's not had a haircut for about four months.
It's like wearing a pair of earmuffs.
He's going to be going to get his haircut tomorrow, so we'll be back to being 80s Roy. But I have to say, I actually quite like the look.
A lot of people do. They've said, keep the long hair, Barry, because it suits you better. But I'm not so sure because I have to wear it.
Yeah, well, you'll have to comb it and wash it and style it.
Yeah.
But again, it's all these things. It's attention to detail. And I actually quite like the long look. Roy, at the end of his career, just before he passed, was actually sporting a ponytail. And I actually quite like the idea of putting a ponytail in. We do have one in the drawer upstairs that we've never used.
Here's one we made earlier.
It's a clip-on. But I think, to be honest with you, the way it's growing, it could potentially make its way into the show.
I think what I'll do is I'll shave my head and just have a ponytail.
Well, this is true. Well, at least it's all your own hair. It's not a wig.
I know.
You are lucky in that respect. Right, okay, let's move on with the questions. What advice would you give to someone who has ambition to produce a touring theatre show? Ooh, what advice? Barry, what advice would you say?
Well, it's just determination, and if you feel you have a product that is going to do well and will sell, then go for it.
Don't think it's going to come easy, because believe you me, it's not.
No, definitely not easy. It just takes years to establish, as it did with us.
It does. I mean, people say to us, what is it? You're clueless, you haven't got a clue what you're doing. We've had people say that they look at us and they see the success and they think it's just come like that.
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, don't forget that we wasn't brought up in the music industry.
No.
So we are from outside the music industry.
Yeah. I'm an ex-fraud investigator with the Department of Work and Pensions. I did that for many years. Before that, I was a head cashier at a local supermarket. Before that, I was on the tills until I was promoted to being a cashier at a local supermarket. And before that, I worked in a chicken factory when I left school, and I was there for 7 years.
Chicken plucker.
Absolutely, did every job, apart from the kill bayonet. I couldn't do that, but that was many moons ago. But himself, what did you used to do?
Oh, not a lot.
Not a lot. No, it was in the forces.
I was in the Air Force, and I did so many years there that I met the wife, and we got married in the Air Force, had children, and now they've grown up and doing their own thing and helping us out with the shows.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
And I've forgotten what the question was. What advice would you give to somebody starting out? First of all, you need something unique. You need something that's different. You need something that's authentic. I see many shows out there that think and believe that they are great. It sounds dreadful, but you really have to put in. You can't take out.
For several years you can't take out.
You can't. You have to invest everything back into the show. You have to be prepared to make losses, which we did in the early days and still do. On some tours, there's always 3 or 4 venues that you absolutely make no money whatsoever.
Feedback is very important.
Listening to
whether
feedback.
It's good or bad, you've got to take it on board, because that's what we did.
We did.
And believe you, it's helped a lot.
And if you're going to produce the show yourself and book artists and musicians, sound men, technical crew, you have to be prepared to be unpopular and make tough decisions when necessary. And at the end of the day, it's the show that's important. And I can always remember a producer called Brian Hallard from Rocking on Heaven's Door. And he said to me once, nobody is bigger than the show. And he was right. And you have to be prepared to make hard, tough decisions, because at the end of the day, without the show, nobody's got any work. The venues have got no shows to put in, and you know, it's as simple as that. Work hard, determination. Do not shy away from making tough decisions. And people may well underestimate you, but you know, we're still here 12 years later, 13 years later, doing a show, and we're getting ready to go back on the road, because we are going to rock it when we go back. Absolutely. This COVID-19 put a stop to us on March the 15th at Bridlington. And as we walked out of the door, the tech crew stood there and they shook our hands and said to us, you can come back anytime. And that to me was high praise from a tech crew.
Just Lynne, not me.
Yeah, absolutely. We are a couple, and although, you know, some may think that we do nothing but argue, at the end of the day, you have to have each other's back, and you have to look after each other and work hard. And that's the advice I would give anybody that's going out on the road with a new show. Don't take out at all. Invest everything back into the show.
As much as you can.
As much as you can. Right, next question, let's have a look. I'm a bit confused on this one. Do you ever worry that during rehearsals that the show is not as you picture it to be, and worry about the response of the audience? No, I don't, because we have amazing musicians and it's evident. We have Barry, who's got a unique voice in his own right, and no, I don't, because Roy Orbison's music and the music that's included in our show is timeless, simply timeless.
Yeah, I agree there, which, you know, the musicians are a big part of the show. It's not just about the frontman at all, by any means.
No.
You know, okay, the frontman has to be good, be able to produce what the public wants and what they've come to see and what they've paid the money for. And likewise with the band, you know, you have to have a good band too.
But it's a two-way thing.
It is. It's otherwise it's just not going to work.
No. Hence, at times you have to make hard decisions.
Yeah, things happen, changes are made, and that's the way it is. You know, it's sometimes the changes are made for a good reason to make the show better, and we hope we're doing that. And we must be doing something right, because we're still going.
12 years later.
The people still want us back.
In the theatres.
Which is great.
You know, we get rebooked, and that is the best thing. And some years, yes, the you know, the amount of people that come to see the show may dip, but then the following year, it's up again. I genuinely think that we have something unique to offer. What is your favourite part of the whole creative process, and why? What's our favourite bit of the creative process?
For me, it's actually going on stage and performing.
Yes.
That's my favourite part.
Yeah.
The response from the audience when you come out on stage and start singing a song that could be their favourite, and they've used that song in somebody's funeral or something, and or it brings back a special memory, which is, that's priceless. It really is priceless.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think, you know, there's certain songs that maybe somebody's parents used to play all the time, and that is priceless to them. To hear it sung live, because at the end of the day, unfortunately, Mr. Orbison isn't here to sing his songs live. For me, my favourite part of the process is standing at the back of the room, watching the audience's reaction, and actually creating the show, hearing a song or finding a song that Roy wrote, but only one other person's ever performed it, and putting it in the show. changing the direction of the show, making it more contemporary, thinking to yourself, what would Mr. Orbison be doing now if he was alive? What would he be singing? Who would he be singing with? Creating the staging, working with the tech crew, working with the lighting engineers,
working with the staff at the venues.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We've had some great ideas given to us by technical crews at venues. We had Matt Taylor, who is now with Rock You. We Will Rock You. He devised our new lighting show, for want of a better word. We invested in what he suggested, and it's teamwork. Technical crew, lighting engineers and sound engineers are as vital to a show as the front man and the band. And I've always thought that, and I've always thought that from the first time that I saw Rocking on Heaven's Door, and I saw what Jason Elms used to do with the lights. And I always give credit where credit is due. Lighting and sound, they're just, you just have to invest in it. Yeah. And on a personal note, I'd like to thank Richard for, when we first started going to Venue Cymru, helping me with the marketing, making suggestions. I learned from Richard. I learned from many marketing people in many venues across the UK. Some have been amazing and have cascaded their experience. Others keep it tight to their chest. But without the technical staff, without the marketing people, without the front of house people, you don't have a show. It's not just about the musicians on the stage. It's about the audience, the tech staff, the theatres, and us. And that's all I can say. You only get out what you put in. Yeah.
I'm very sorry that I have to apologise that I haven't spoke too much, simply because this lady here has been sat beside me the whole time. I have no idea who she is. And I just thought I'd mention that, my tongue's okay, but Lynne's is swollen.
No, but we're a couple, and you know.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, something like that. Good cop, bad cop.
That's true as well.
That's true as well. Okay, well, thank you, Richard. I hope this is...
hope it's of some use to you, mate.
Yeah, and hopefully if we don't see you this year, we'll definitely see you next year.
Take
care.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Every time I look